I just have a few questions. So how many calls does the average plumbing company miss each week?
That really depends on the size of the company, of course, and how many calls they get in general.
Let's say a small 1 to 2 man operation plumbing business. How many calls per day do you think that company misses?
For a smaller operation, missing around 10 to maybe 15 calls per day isn't unusual, especially if they're busy on jobs and can't answer the phone. On average, that could mean around 50 up to maybe even 100 missed calls a week.
Well, I'm trying to prove the point that missed calls equals missed revenue. Let's just say the national average cost of a plumbing job. How much would that be?
It varies quite a bit depending on the specific job, but for a typical residential call, it might range from $100 to several $100s. Some sources suggest an average of around $300 or $400, maybe even a little more. So if you're missing 10 calls a day, that does add up to a lot of potential lost revenue.
I don't know if, the plumber's phones are ringing that much, but let's say we're missing 5 calls per day on average, and each call is worth about $300 per call. What are the odds that someone calling that plumber is actually going to have that plumber come out and perform the job that they're calling about?
That's where the conversion rate comes in. Industry averages suggest that plumbing businesses convert between 25 and 40% of answered calls into actual jobs. So if a plumber misses 5 calls a day, they might have booked at least 1 or 2 of those jobs if they had answered.
Now, so let's just say conservatively, they only book 1 job per day out of those calls that were missed. Now, that would be an additional $300 to $400 per day, maybe? Would you say that's a conservative estimate?
Yes, that sounds like a conservative estimate, especially if the average job is worth around $300, $400. Capturing 1 more job per day would definitely bring in that additional revenue.
How much revenue would that be potentially missed by the plumber every month?
Based on your conservative estimate of booking 1 job per day for missed calls, with an average value of around $300 to $400, that would come to roughly $6,000 to $8,000 in additional revenue every month. Over the course of a year, that's a significant amount of money that you're potentially losing.
And of course, it's going to vary depending on the plumber's popularity, the location of the plumber, and so on and so forth. But I would like to assume that 1 missed call per day is a very solid conservative estimate. Now that would equate to about $6,000 to $8,000 per month in missed revenue, with a conservative estimate of $300 per job being missed. If a plumber were to implement an artificial intelligence receptionist where the receptionist can actually answer the calls for the plumber, answer every single call 24/7, 365 days per year, and the AI receptionist speaks in a natural human sounding voice and can book the appointments for the plumber, put it on their calendar, and the AI receptionist just does a really good job at it, and it can be tested rather easily by going to that phone number right there. Would you say that AI receptionist would be worth its weight in gold?
Absolutely. I'd say an AI receptionist that can answer every call 24/7, schedule appointments, and prioritize emergencies, especially in a natural sounding voice, would be incredibly valuable. It directly prevents those missed calls we were just talking about and turns every one of those potential customers into a booked job, making sure the plumber doesn't lose out on that revenue.
If someone were to miss a call, let's say a plumber were to miss a call from a potential customer, do you think that customer is going to wait for that plumber to call them back, or do you think that customer is going to actually go down the list on Google and potentially call the next plumber, the plumber that did answer their phone, and potentially book that plumbing job with that plumber, which means a lost customer for life, potentially a lost customer for life? We could set you up rather easily with an AI receptionist, and we also offer a lot of other services that you get for the price that will help you bring in substantially more revenue per month, per week, and we will capture those leads that you're missing by not answering the phone or not being able to answer the phone, because we understand 100% that you can't always get to the phone, especially if it's just a 1 or 2 man operation, and we applaud you for being a 1 or 2 man operation. We love small businesses. We love working with small businesses. So if you're interested in, capturing some of those missed leads, bringing in an extra 10, 15, 20, maybe 30, 40, $50,000 per month, you could even bring in enough revenue to hire someone else to help you out with those jobs and expand your business. You know how to reach me. Website is right there. I'll catch you guys on the next video.